Alright you guys, what's up? Back for a new video on the channel here, and it's time to get back working on the 1.5 JZ S13 as always. But in the previous video you guys saw us buy the new FRS. That's going to be our new build on the channel coming very soon once we get this thing settled, ready for the season and ready for comp. So that'll be coming soon, a whole new build on the channel, very excited about that. But on the other hand, in this video it's time to get this car to the next level. Once again, not a crazy next level, but like the next step in the right direction. So this car is a 1.5 JZ S13, fully built motor, BC rods, BC head internals, cams, springs, retainers, Shimless buckets, all the good stuff, CP Carrillo Pistons, real straight billet mains, all the good stuff tuned by Freddie at Spect Tune, and the car has been awesome. Now, the only thing that's not perfect on this car is the turbo setup. So the one thing I've been wanting to do to this car since I got it back together this past year, it's been great, but the turbo has been kind of on the side. Now, it's not about turbo at all. It is the Garrett GTX35-1050 RS turbo, and it's honestly really good. But for me, I think it needs more power in the right areas, more response, it's more pep in its step, basically. So the Garrett 3584 RS has been pretty good, but it's time to go to the next level in turbos. But I'm finally announcing that we are working with Garrett Motion turbos, and I'm very stoked to be running turbo by Garrett. It's just like a big dream of mine. I've always ran Garrett turbos since day one, in this car with a GT3076, and then with the GTX 3071, now the 3584 RS, and I've never ever had a single issue with any of those turbos. They have been great and have always been great to me. Alrighty, so we have the new turbo right here, the housing, and also the Garrett wastegate as well. So we'll get into that right now, show you guys everything we're going to put on the car, and go to the next step. Alright, so here we have my new turbo, the Garrett G35-1050 turbo. It's a 68mm turbo, and it's going to be much better. The G series has been known for its response in drifting, drag racing, and all the above in all racing applications, and especially in drifting is where it shines. Many people run these turbos, this and the 900 as well. They're really close, but this can go a little bit more. We're going to try this one first because we have data of other people that have the exact same engine setup as me with the G35-900, and the power we want to make right around about 720-ish. The back pressure gets a little high, and back pressure is very important. You want that 1-to-1 always. You have a healthy motor at all times. So we're gonna try 1050 first. If it's not perfect, we'll go to 900, but Freddie believes that it'll be perfect for me with this motor, with that turbo. If it's a little laggy, we'll go down one size. Now, this is a 67mm turbo, 3584 RS. We're going to 68, which is a little bit bigger, but the G series with the new and improved turbine wheel, it's going to be much more efficient, way more responsive, and make overall power in all the right areas at all times, making this car much easier to drive, making all the power down low, mid-range, and up high, and we can probably rev this motor now to 8 grand instead of 7,800. So it's going to sound awesome, it's going to be way more responsive, and I'm ready to get this old turbo off and then install the new Garrett G35-1050. Now, this deal has been in the works for a long time with Garrett Motion. I've been running their turbos, like I said, for years, and since day one on this car, and it's been amazing, like no issues ever. I've bought all their turbos and they've been very good to me, and they've helped me out tremendously, and I'm very stoked to be working with them this year and years on out to gather data, make good power, and boost all the air in these motors and make these things really spicy and sound really good, making awesome power. I've had GTX 3071, GT 3076, one of the older ones, 3584 RS, and now we're going to the G35-1050, and I'm very excited to have this turbo. I've been wanting it for a while. There's lots of people that have these turbos, and it's for a reason, to make the awesome power with Garrett. Now, for you engine nerds, you're probably gonna watch this video and see this turbo going onto this motor. This is a 1.5 JZ. It is fully built, like I said before. It has a fully built head, BC 272 camshafts, BC titanium springs retainers, Toyota OEM Shimless buckets, SuperTech valve seals. The bottom end is a fully built bottom end, CP Carrillo 9.0 compression pistons. With the 1J head, it probably goes closer to almost 10 or 9.5, so it's pretty spicy. BC 625 plus rods, and real street billet mains. So if you guys want this engine package, it's in my bio. I'll put it down below so you guys can see it. If you want to copy it, go right ahead. Just make sure you use CP Carrillo, BC, real street performance parts, and get yourself a very reliable motor. So with this turbo, it's gonna be pretty spicy. I can make probably 1,000 horsepower on this turbo, but we're not gonna do that, but we can. My goal is to make like the same power, maybe a little bit more, but have more response across the board and just be more efficient with this turbo compared to this one. Again, this one's not bad. It's just not what we want right now, and we want to be more efficient with some spice with the new turbo. So we are at Paul's house right now, as you guys can see. This is his home garage. He has a CNC machine. He's a great fabricator, so we're gonna make a new downpipe to fit the new turbo. This one will probably work just fine, but it's very, very old. I'd rather have a new turbo on, new downpipe on there, so we're gonna do all that new stuff as well. So new turbo, new downpipe. We're also doing the new Garrett wastegate as well. We have the new Garrett blow-off valve on here as well. It's a new product that just released, and I'm very stoked on it. I was one of the first to have it. It looks really good, sounds pretty good. This one is the new Garrett blow-off valve, the GVB50A atmospheric. Had it on last event, sounded pretty sweet, looks awesome. I know most people don't want to run blow-off valves because they like the noise and this and that, but we're trying this out with Garrett. It's a new product. I want me to run it and test it out. Make sure it works well, and it's been working great. It's a blow-off valve, not much to it, but it looks really, really good. The logo and branding is awesome, and I'm very stoked on it to run it this year as well. Like I said, we're doing new Garrett wastegate. It's right here. We'll open up in a second after the turbo's on. Get to that later, but I'm very stoked for having all my turbo application with Garrett and all the boost control with their new wastegate as well. So things have been going really good. Downpipe is basically done. It is done. Medium done. Paul did a great job welding it up, getting it fitting much better than the old downpipe. The old downpipe was kind of just, you know, pieced together over the years of changes and stuff. So now we have a full new downpipe. New Garrett wastegates on there too. Making the new dump tube for it right now. It's looking really, really good. Once that is done, then we will change the mid pipe, make that all welded up. And once that's done, the actual turbo housing goes on, and then we get to the cold side and finish it all up. But the new Garrett turbo is gonna look sick. New downpipe, almost full new exhaust, almost, but hopefully it's gonna sound really cool. I'm really excited to have a new sounding car because this thing has sounded the same for so long. It'll sound similar, but like definitely different with the new wastegate and the new turbo. So I'm very curious how it's gonna sound. Alright, we've been trucking along on this car. It's looking really, really good so far. New downpipe's all welded up, fitted up in there. Now it's all nice and tucked up, unlike before. New Garrett wastegate is here as well. GBW45. It's a lot bigger, but it looks really, really good. And we're also going to do a new dump tube for the wastegate, which Paul's welding right now. Looking pretty sweet. Once that's done, we're going to get the mid pipe on, cut it up, and fit it differently than before. Before, the old exhaust was sitting way too low to the ground because the dry shaft for the winter sits like really low. So we kind of had to make it work for the time being. But now with new exhaust going on, it's gonna be way, way better. But once the hot side's done, it's time for the cold side. Get the actual turbo on there, get the elbow welded on, and then get the back pressure on as well, and be good to go. Alrighty, so most of the fab work's all done. Now it's time to get the actual turbo on the car. G35-1050 is actually first mounted up right here. Now we're gonna do the cold side, just get the elbow welded onto the turbo here, and then throw a coupler on there, and it's basically ready to go. It's pretty simple from here on out. So after that, get the lines back on, oil drain, feed, and 2 water ports, and be good to go. Get the downpipe back on, wastegate lines, and then finish the rest of the exhaust, and we'll be good to go. But this thing looks really big. It looks really big, but it's more of the hot side that looks kind of intimidating, or the car's kind of just really high. Pause. But, pause?
It looks really big.
It looks really big. You're very blurry too, damn it. Oh, we're focused now. Anyway, yeah, it looks really cool. I've always wanted this turbo, and it looks freaking sick. So, I'm very excited to get this thing done, started, and ready to go. We also got the back pressure fitting right here on the hot side for the sensor right here. Yeah, it's coming together. Pretty simple, all fresh and brand new. So Paul's doing a really good job welding. Thank you, Paul. Big chillin'. Lots of work though, but when it's all done, it's all worth it. So, all right, next up, cold side, get that welded up, lines on, like I said, and then continue on. Alrighty, it's the next day, and the Garrett G35-1050 is actually all mounted up on the car permanently now. I'm very stoked on it. Now, when you do these new turbos, they're all very similar over their place, but there's gonna be some things in different areas you gotta change, like a fitting size, or a fitting angle, or piping and stuff like that. But now, got some different fittings on there, got it all lined up. The feed doesn't look amazing, but it's what I can do right now. I couldn't fit it under here, tuck it back here, but looks great. These turbos look so good, and they're so like small, but like not. They're like big, but they're like small, but make so much power. It's kind of impressive. So all installed permanently, ready to go. On the coupler here, on the lines. Now up next is to get the exhaust all done and finalized. Paul just watered the O2 bung into the downpipe. Then once that's mounted back in the car, we'll get to the mid pipe and then mount that and then be done and ready to go. So I'm very excited. Next up, like I said, exhaust on. And then after that, up next is to make the lines for the vac hoses. I use dash 4 AN because I don't like silicone, and the AN lines are much more like safe to me, if that makes sense. Also, one other good thing about the G series is you have a 1/8 MPT port for your vac line built in, instead of having to weld and tap or weld a bung in here to get your reference. So built in, ready to go. Take the old plug out, put the fitting in there, right to the wastegate, and done deal. All right, the new exhaust is on. Now it's on the right side. Way better on this side because now we can actually pull the dry shaft out and pull the trans much easier if we have to. That way the exhaust is not crossing over, all low and ugly. Got rid of the old ugly ass metal we had, and now we have a nice brand new metal turned down, and it looks really, really good. But all in all, it's much more tucked up and much better. So that is done. I'm just about done. More things to tidy up, and it'll be good. Alright, you guys, the new Garrett G35-1050 turbo is on with the new wastegate as well. All fab work done by Paul, all new lines made, and we're ready to fire. So first fire is gonna go right now. Should be good. Let's hear this thing. This thing sounds so sick. It's way louder. Oh my god. Damn, this thing sounds freaking sick, dude. This thing is way louder, way more choppy. It's also, to be fair, a little bit rich because the O2 sensor placement is different than before. It was on the mid pipe before, which was fine, but now that it's closer, it's a little bit more rich. But it sounds pretty freaking gnarly. It's definitely different. It's way more high pitch. So damn, I'm I'm stoked. It sounds so sick. Woo, man, I'm stoked. All right, we are done. After a few days of fab work and all that kind of stuff, we are finally done. The new Garrett G35-1050 is on the car and it sounds really, really good. Haven't heard that much of it yet. With the new exhaust and the turbo, this thing sounds pretty wild. So next up, get it on the dyno with Freddie, make some horsepower, go over the data, compare the two turbos, and see where we're at compared to before. I know it's gonna be better overall and it's gonna sound real spicy, and the response and the overall power band in all the areas will be much better. I want to make that much more horsepower. I just want to make more power in the right areas, like I said, but it's going to be really, really sick. Paul did an awesome job with all the fab work, all new 3.5-inch downpipe, all new wastegate dump tube. We modified my old mid pipe and we put it on the passenger side to run it back through here, turn it down by the axle right here on this side compared to last time, because now with the winters it makes it really shitty with the drive shaft and stuff. So much better, much more serviceable. I'm just stoked. I've always wanted to work with Garrett and we're finally doing it. But once again, I'm very happy to work with Garrett Motion. It's been a dream come true, and I'm very stoked to have this turbo in the car and make some power with Garrett. And thanks to Tim as well for working with me, getting the parts out to me, and getting this thing ready to rip for this season. So next video, go to the dyno at Real Street with Freddie, make some jam, and hear all the Jay-Z noises, and then to the track for hopefully some testing before Pro-Am. But yeah, that's up next. But once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys real soon.